today, blockchain is not just about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. It definitely is influencing sectors in finance and healthcare, supply chain, or even agriculture, right? So coming to opportunities, that all I want to say is pick up any field, and then you will be able to explore and plug in blockchain to make it more efficient and better. So you would find in today's scenario, you are very much likely to find like blockchain being used in fields apart from tech. So yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to add.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for those answers. So, one of the things that really struck for me there is pick up any field, and you can apply blockchain into whatever you find yourself doing. So, I would also ask Henry that same question before we proceed to other questions, and then we'll just engage everyone. So, Henry, can you give us the overview from your own perspective as well, and then some current opportunities that people can leverage in the blockchain ecosystem?
Yeah, I'll just support Afika. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. Ojupe, you're doing a great job. And thank you for having me speaking today. It's an honor, a pleasure, always a pleasure to be in the midst of fellow crypto enthusiasts. So, yeah, to add to what she said, just bring in your creativity to the industry and you'll be able to find something for yourself. This is a new technology. The world is just adopting it, and we still don't know exactly, a lot of things a lot of trends that keep coming up, right? Are things that people just try out. So this is the time for you to come and experiment, bring in whatever creativity you have, whatever you're good at currently. Try to understand that first, and then when you come into the space, try as much as possible to learn, to understand, to network, to reach out, see professionals who are aware, doing something similar to what you would see yourself doing, and then learn the complementing skills so that you can actually play in that way. So you could be a content creator, you could be someone who's good with communities, who's good with, could be physical communities, could be a podcast, could be just a community in a group or in a Reddit forum. And yeah, you're someone who's good in that. Maybe you like writing, for instance. You can be a writer within the space, a technical or non-technical writer. And the good thing about it is whatever thing you're doing within the space would be your avenue for learning, because it's a new space that keeps evolving and everyone has to be on the loop of things so that they don't get outdated. So the more you kind of do whatever you're doing, could be content making, development. Of course, if you're a programmer, you could also contribute in the space by contributing in open source, participating in hackathons, and just joining communities or DAOs that have plans of building different things. And of course, volunteering yourself, and you'll be surprised at what kind of contribution you can give. So we keep learning like this, and there's no limit to how high we can fly. And I think it's very open and flexible for anyone who wants to make a career in something. But the important thing is really learning the fundamentals and basics of the space, and then practicing what you already know how to do professionally. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Henry. So I just picked this from everything you've said. Bring in your creativity. As the ecosystem, as the technology is evolving, there are lots of trends that are coming up, and the innovations that we see, it is people that that are bringing in their creativity and innovation into the space. Thank you so much, Apika and Henry. So the next question, I would be introducing one of our speakers as well, and I would be throwing this question to him. Meet Jerry. Meet Jerry. Jerry is a specialist in blockchain technology and is a co-founder of Bitcoin Bay, Toronto's largest and longest running Bitcoin meetup group. He has been actively involved in the blockchain ecosystem since 2013. Interesting. And specializes in blockchain solutions, decentralized technology, and community coordination. He serves as an advisor at the Blockchain Association of Canada, as a consultant with expertise in cryptography and game theory. Jerry helps businesses adapt to the rapidly. Ambers, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. Sorry about that. As a consultant with expertise in cryptography and game theory, Jerry helps businesses adapt to the rapidly evolving blockchain space, especially in exploring real-world applications of Bitcoin and blockchain technology. His work has significantly advanced Toronto's blockchain ecosystem and continues to inspire many across the globe. Jerry holds a degree in microbiology and ecology from McMaster University. Welcome to Imagine Tech Talks, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for that introduction. I definitely need to update it now that I heard it back.
So, Jerry, what key sectors would you say are most actively hiring blockchain talents today?
In terms of the industry fields, I would say, it's fairly obvious that a lot of these tech startups and companies are fairly aggressively hiring for developers. Obviously, it's like they need the people to actually build it. But like to what Athika and Henry were saying, like it's not purely just developers, right? When I started out in the space in 2014, 2013, 2014 or so, I, I basically didn't have any sort of like continued development experience, programming experience, and everything was really just self-taught, right? Um, and yeah, like for a lot of companies that I've noticed, it's like for a lot of the early initial teams that they were forming, a lot of the development talent is, essentially just self-taught. There's no real, like institutions or anything like that to help guide you the way. And what ultimately happened is that, like it's just a matter of how much people are willing to be engaged in the community, whether they're, again, working on, tech startups or other community engagement events, even just like, in a legal and regulatory space, right? We've seen a lot of, like these regulators trying to come in, trying to ring in some of these exchanges and whatnot. So, quite honestly, as the previous speakers mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities out here. So it really is just a matter of, like trying to be out there, seeing what kind of opportunities are available. And these opportunities are quite often not the type where, like you just go to a website, apply for a job resume and stuff like that, right? It's more so like getting in hands-on and seeing what you can offer for the other peoples as well. So yeah, it's fairly exciting. And it's definitely not traditional, but there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there for people who are willing.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Yes, it's from the responses we've been hearing so far. Jerry said it's not traditional and there are lots of opportunities out there. And as much as it's a majorly tech startups that, actively hire most of the times, like we have technical talents and we have non-technical talents. So a developer would need other talents as well, say a writer, a content creator, a video editor, graphics designer, and all of that for blockchain projects that he has to develop for and all of that. So the central theme we've been hearing so far, which we'll continue to hear throughout the course of this event, is to keep skilling up and be hands-on with whatever you want to do. Thank you so much once again, Jerry. For the third question, I would be introducing our third speaker. Meet your guest, Henry. Henry Onyebuchi is a seasoned Web3 professional specializing in smart contract security, education, and business ideation. He is a PSC member of the Blockchain Development Program at George Brown College and facilitates workshop for the Lasund Blockchain Association at York University. Dedicated to mentoring, Henry supports beginners, Web2 developers, and startup founders in the Web3 space as he actively contributes to the Blockchain Nigeria user group and Web3 Bridge, fostering vibrant blockchain communities and driving global blockchain adoption. He is the founder and CTO of Jogger Vault Finance and co-founder of AfroCab, specializing in building decentralized applications and EVM-compatible blockchains. Welcome to Imagine Tech Talks, Henry. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Great. So I would ask you this. For someone aspiring to enter the blockchain ecosystem, what would you say are the most critical technical and non-technical skills required to thrive in this space?
I mean, just learning the fundamentals of blockchain, I think it starts from there, so that you'll be able to plug in yourself to any other area of interest. One needs to know some basic terms and activity going on within the space. Things from miners to guide what the blockchain technology is, what transactions are when you have DeFi, what DeFi represents, what's cryptocurrency, tokens, altcoins, smart contracts, decentralized exchanges, centralized exchanges, so that you'll be, guided, and be able to explain to other people in a layman terms. So if you want someone who's looking to have a career within the space, I think communication is also important because of the complexity of the space. You should be able to relay, make it non-complex to whoever you're talking to regarding what's happening in the space. So yeah, I think basic knowledge of what the blockchain represents is first, followed by whatever complementing skills in the area you find yourself useful the most. So you could be someone who is an accountant, right? It's important for you to understand transactions. You should be able to read a transaction, see where it started from to where it ended. For instance, you can be able to do that for a blockchain company or a startup that's just, or even a big company that's just adopting blockchain for the first time, and maybe they need an accountant, right, who would oversee what's happening on chain. So as someone who knows how to track transactions and you already are an accountant, you already position yourself for landing that kind of job. That also goes into legals, for instance. So many regions across the world right now, they are still trying to set up their regulatory framework around this industry. So a lot of things are changing, and the more you know, right, the more you position yourself as a legal person to correctly guide projects that are trying to play within that field, as well as development. If you're a developer already, it's possible to also start building within this space, and that's by trying out so many community-driven events like hackathons and joining DAOs, volunteering really to just contribute one way or another. You might not be developing right away, but you might be given the opportunity to relay some technical details to the layman, right? So doing that activity alone would, really broaden your mind and open your mind to what you can do, right, with the skills you already have. So yeah, I'll just say knowing the basics of blockchain technology and understanding your niche, how you want to participate, and then edifying yourself by getting the skills required to explore in that area.
Thank you so much, Henry. So some of the few things I took from that, basically learning the fundamentals, knowing the basics, and the more you know, the better positioned you are. Thank you so much for those responses. So for the next question, I would be asking the three speakers in no particular order. So how can professionals without a tech background transition into the blockchain industry? Say a non-techie like myself, I'm a technical person, but I'm in the blockchain, space. So how can professionals without a tech background transition seamlessly into the industry? So I'll be starting with you, Jerry.
Yeah, so what I'd say is that, like you definitely don't need to be like super technical to, do things in the space. The thing that you do need to be aware of though is understanding what the tech is doing. And so there's a difference between like being able to work with the tech directly and just understanding what the tech is doing, right? Um, and so for a lot of these, like non-technical, non-developer folks that are getting into the space, just having the understanding of like what the core properties of blockchains are, how they function, how, like any sort of attack vectors could possibly come in. That kind of information is really helpful for even the technical people who have expertise in other tech areas other than blockchain. And when they're getting in, yeah, they can code, but what exactly are they coding, right? So, like translating the not just the technical potentials, but also understanding the larger, like ecosystem and like market needs. So before 2017, like there was a lot of in the hackathons, there was a lot of projects that were trying to integrate the blockchain technology into industry verticals such as in healthcare, in legal, in supply chain, and so on and so forth. So having a good understanding of like what the core problems in those other industries are, and then being able to, like come up with solutions like using the blockchain, that would be very, very important as well, right? So yeah, there's a lot of things, like in terms of product management, in terms of just overall marketing, letting people know. Obviously, like trying to be above ground for all the regulatory stuff. But yeah, ultimately it's, just having some competent level of like familiarity with how the stuff is working in the back end, without having the need to, like actually be able to code and do all this kind of like technical stuff hands-on.
Thank you so much, Jerry. So having general understanding, basic understanding of how the technology works without necessarily having to code and all of that is very, very important. And so I'd also be asking Henry that question: how can professionals or people, enthusiasts, people who are looking to transition into the blockchain industry, how can they easily transition?
Yeah, I mean, they need to get involved. They need to learn the basics of the field of interest. They also need to go for events, join communities, participate in AMAs, ask questions, join DAOs, volunteer, meet people, talk with people, discuss with people. They will always find out other professionals or starters, people who are starting. They'll get to know about the industry, what's happening within the space. And that's a very good avenue for education as well. See what different people are doing, see how different people started. They'll get to understand the industry more, and they'll be able to identify use cases, especially use cases related to them. So yeah, I think that's a way to really get acquainted with the space. Networking is very important. Also understanding the regulatory situation of the industry, right? For someone who's interested in, let's say, building something with using blockchain technology, it's also important to know to be compliant, as well as do it the right way, because it's as important as the technology itself. So yeah, that's my own recommendation.
Thank you so much, Henry. So get involved, join communities, be out there, network, see what others are doing, to help them. So for the next question, Athika, I'm coming to you right now. So looking at education and certifications, what roles would you say they play in establishing a career in blockchain technology? Are there specific programs or certifications that people can easily lay hands on and learn? Are there some that you would also like to recommend tonight?
Well, I think you probably curated this question to come to me because I recently completed my postgrad in blockchain development from George Brown College, and that is how I know the founder of Oijo, Godfrey, who was a very prominent and important class member that we had. We're rooting for his success. But yes, in my personal opinion, I think formal education and certifications, not just to have that name tag, but play a very good role to set your foundations right. So just to give you a background on where I'm coming from, I found out about blockchain when Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake. So the merge, they called the event, like they called the whole thing as the merge, and it was celebrated on a very huge scale across India. And At that time, I was there and I was like, what are people celebrating and what is happening and why am I, why do I not know about this? And I started reading about Ethereum and I started reading about, what blockchain is capable of. Coming from a CS background, I was able to grasp easily. And we started the first Web3 community back in my city, in Hyderabad, in India. And even though, we met every Sunday, we used to host these meetups where we're, building DAOs, minting NFTs, and, just getting our hands on the technology. I still felt that there was a lack where my, foundations weren't as structured and strong enough, which is why I looked out for a professional program that gave hands-on blockchain experience and found something at George Brown College and then moved to Canada. So in my personal opinion, they build a very strong foundation for you. They help you, they help you look at all of the paths that you can take and build that specialization around those paths. And they also, like, along with this, there's obviously the credibility and the recognition that you get, the mentorship, the professors, the network that you build with a formal education. Certifications, in my personal opinion, are more accessible, and can be targeted depending on every person's personal needs. Like, let's say I cannot recommend the blockchain development program at George Brown College to a non-technical person. Obviously, if you are in tech, then yes, that's the program I would personally recommend for you to get into. But if you're not a technical person, then I would want you to focus more on understanding, like the other speakers mentioned, right? Like Jerry even mentioned, like you need to understand the jargons, the underlying technology, how things are basically working, the theoretical part of whichever blockchain that you pick up. So for those, I would basically recommend and suggest courses from the Blockchain Research Institute in Canada. It's an institute that was started by Dan Tapscott and his son Alex Tapscott. So they have really wonderful courses. And then obviously there are these course platforms, Udemy, Coursera, and all of these that have these basic beginner level courses that you would want to pick up. But let's say you're looking for a more university level program and certifications, then there are quite a few not specifically in Toronto. I think the one at Josh Brown College is the first one and the only one that focuses on hardcore development. But when it comes to finance, I think Lambton College is doing something there. There's York University as well that is getting more into the business side of things. Obviously, UBC is a big name when it comes to blockchain. Their blockchain research is top notch. So maybe if you are looking for a master's program, that's something that you want to go to. So in my personal opinion, if you're looking for something, you will obviously find it, but it's that you have to put in the research, and you have to understand what works for you and what does not work for you. But there are a lot of free resources to start with, and then more professional programs that you can take up once you feel like this is what you want to do. But definitely, like, formal education and certifications absolutely play a valuable role in establishing a career in blockchain. I wouldn't say they're always essential, but they bring in the set of values and practical skills and hands-on experience that you need, right? So yeah.
Thank you so much, Atika. So formal education play a very vital role in setting the foundation, right, and giving you credibility in this space. You mentioning the Tapscott duo. I remember, I've been in this space since 2019, and it got to a point where, being a non-tech person, I felt the need to learn. I felt the need to, beyond being in communities, attending events, hosting events and all of that, I felt I needed to, learn more. And that was what led me to Blockchain Revolution course. I took that course on Coursera in 2022. And then I also had to learn about DeFi. And, I just had to familiarize myself with the terms, despite not being a technical person. Thank you so much for those recommendations. So without further ado, continue. I would ask Henry this question. Atika has just mentioned that formal education and certification play a very vital role to set the foundation. In looking at that side by side with hands-on experience, would you say the hands-on experience are more valuable than the certification in this space? Or how would you advise someone? Because I was having a conversation with someone recently, and there were a lot of arguments around that. How would you advise someone to trade when it comes to this? Some just feel like, oh, once I have the experience, I'm good to go. But how would you, because we have quite a number of persons here with questions in their hearts and people that need clarity on how to trade in this space. Would you say hands-on experience is more valuable, or how would you merge both in this conversation that we're currently having? Thank you.
Okay, good question. I think they both complement each other. While certifications are important, and education background very important, it keeps you at a very good starting point. As far as it relates to the industry, if you're going to get an opportunity in the blockchain field, of course, these certifications are going to give you very good leverage. But something else that is very important with these certifications, of course, it is expected that you will have something to show, right? Could be some project you've worked on in the past, maybe while you were doing your doing your dissertation, or fulfilling your program, right? The demo projects you did, if you're going to need to have them in an open source environment, so that whoever is giving you, or whoever you're trying to get the opportunity from, can be able to see what you've actually done, to understand up to the extent to which you can contribute. So I think open source contribution is very important, regardless of if you have certification or not. But of course, if you have this certification, you should be ready to start contributing in an open source manner, or participating in hackathons and bringing value to the teams you'll be working with, and also bringing value and credibility to the hackathon organizers, for instance, or even contributing to different communities, right, or DAOs, you definitely would bring value if you have these certifications, because in order to have these certifications, it means that you have value. So it's also important for you to have some proof of work to showcase your ability. So I think they both complement each other, because whoever is giving out an opportunity needs to see and prove to themselves that you are who you say you are. So yeah, they can give you a leverage if they see that you have certain certifications, but you'll be even more convincing if there are some examples to show for. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So everything, I'll just wrap up everything you just said in this: show and not just tell. So you're more convincing when you have the certification, because people can just claim to have have studied, and at the end of the day they have nothing to show for it. Thank you so much for that. I'm coming over to you now, Jerry. So for those with entrepreneurial ambitions, people who want to be founders, people who have innovative ideas, and they would want to start up something in the blockchain industry, what are the key considerations for starting a blockchain based venture? What from your experience, what mistakes and pitfalls would you say that they should avoid? Jerry, over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. And obviously, like a lot of people are very, very enthusiastic about this tech space and the opportunities. But ultimately, when you're talking about a startup, you still have to focus on the basics of business operations, right? So, who are your customer base? How are they going to be interacting? What kind of services and products are you going to be offering? And one of the things that I have definitely noticed in the blockchain space is that for a lot of these projects and people working on these products, um, it tends to end up being kind of like using blockchain for the sake of using blockchain, right? Like when you go talk to investors or anything like that, I mean, nowadays the hot topic is AI, but you can kind of translate that to the same thing, right? Where the tools that people are using shouldn't be the main focus of what you're doing as a startup. It should be more so like what kind of core problem sets that you're trying to tackle and solve, right? So I think like the number one thing that people have to, just keep in mind is that while the tech is great and while the tools and the components are, let's put it this way, right? They could probably be essential, but not sufficient, right? Um, Essential but not sufficient tools for a startup. And ultimately, you still need to know like if you're going to have a startup, who are you going to be serving, right? Who would be your customer base, all the basic stuff that, any sort of entrepreneurship stuff should be learning. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just, like knowing your customer base. If it just so happens that your customers just want to make money, regardless how they do it, then you can treat this like a penny stock brokerage and just sell them whatever. But if the intention is actually to do something, to build something with the blockchain, then, we have to understand like what is this thing that you're trying to solve, right? What's the problem set that you're trying to solve? So yeah, a lot of it is, just going back to the basics, just understanding, like business operations and stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jerry. So go back to the basics as a founder or an aspiring founder. Go back to the basics. Get to understand what every basic thing that any entrepreneur would want to know, and learn. Nothing worthwhile is built without having sufficient knowledge of what you want to do. Know the nitty-gritty, the ins and outs and everything for what you want to do. Thank you once again, Jerry. So I would also ask Afika that question. Just give us a brief answer. to that question. Thank you.
Did I not answer that question?
Well,
I'm
you can
sorry.
answer it again.
Uh, can I get the question back?
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So I would ask you the question again. So
Mhm.
for people with entrepreneurial ambitions, they found as somebody who has say someone has an innovative idea and has a groundbreaking idea and wants to build something in the blockchain industry. What are the key considerations for starting a blockchain-based venture, and what mistakes and pitfalls would you advise them to avoid?
Okay. Yes. So I did not answer that question. Sorry for the confusion. But in my personal opinion, what I think is you have to please don't fall in love with the solution that you're building. This is a huge mistake that I've seen entrepreneurs and startup leaders go through, which is why many startups fail, is that they fall in love with the solution that they're building instead of falling in love with the problem that they're trying to solve, right? So that's one very important thing to note. Another key consideration would be uh, always being ready to pivot your idea depending on the real world use case and how people are reacting to it, and trying to achieve that product market fit with your venture. And this is like very generic advice for not just blockchain based ventures, but any ventures that we're talking about, right? No matter you're in tech or not in tech, as long as you're building a venture, these are key considerations that you need to start. Now, coming specifically to blockchain, I think choosing the right blockchain platform to fit your needs, to fit the needs of your solution, to understand the strengths and limitations that you want to tackle with that particular application that you're building, or whatever it is, has to puts you in a position where you have to choose the right blockchain platform, because sometimes your biasness towards a blockchain platform might be the reason for a pitfall, right? And then another major reason which breaks my heart to see companies fail is the regulatory and legal landscape. The compliances in blockchain industry, unfortunately, are very unwelcoming, I would say. And I think it's because we're still in the very early stages. These rules are being developed, and these security laws are trying to work around. We have fantastic legal advisors that are trying to change these issues that we're facing in terms of compliances, and that could derail your project. So they try to engage the government into building a more blockchain savvy legal like system. But I think as somebody in today's time, if you're trying to build a blockchain venture, it is very important. The first thing that you need to do is understand if what you're trying to build is even allowed. I mean, it's fantastic that you don't have competitors in the market, but there has to be a reason that people are not doing it. So please look into those compliances and those security laws and those token issuance problems that you might come into later. Yeah, another thing the final thing that I would add to this is to understand the users that you are tackling with. You cannot expect you cannot expect the general public to start creating wallets, to start interacting interacting with blockchain in the forefront. When you're onboarding these non-technical users, blockchain can be very complex for them. So it is very essential you build a user-friendly interface. You try to build a platform that looks like any other application that the general public is used to these days, so that and that's the whole beauty of blockchain, right? It's working in the background, giving you that level of security, decentralization, and everything. And in the forefront, there's a beautiful user experience that you want to give them. So it's very essential to understand the kind of users that you're building with. And another mistake that many startups don't really focus on in the start is building a community. So communities have huge potentials. Communities, they're these blockchain initially, wanted to achieve decentralization to build a trustless community where you don't have to necessarily trust the person that you're interacting with, but building a robust, ecosystem partnerships and collaborating with other blockchain ventures and projects into the whole in the whole ecosystem is very, very essential. And yeah, I think that's some pitfalls, and that's some mistakes that these people make.
Yeah, I just want to quickly add on that, like with this tech space, you're also not geographically locked in, right? So there's a lot of demand in other parts around the world, especially in places where, like the financial system is not very robust and whatnot. Generally speaking, anywhere that has, like bad economy, central banks printing out way too much money and stuff like that, those are parts of the country, parts of the world where like there will be a lot more in terms of just general adoption, more people open to using it and stuff like that, right? So yeah, like obviously, like we have a lot of talent here in Canada, but do be open to, like look for overseas opportunities as well.
Thank you so much, Jerry and Athika. I'd like to confirm if you can hear me because I had a network glitch just now. Oh, thank you, thank you. So, you know what? I actually lost some of the things Jerry said because my network glitched. But I especially love your opening statement, Athika. Don't fall in love with your solution. Don't fall in love with what you're building. Fall in love with the problem. I mean, you can, when you said that, those words exploded in my head. And can you hear me? My network is glitching. Sorry.
We can hear
Okay,
Lima.
thank you, thank you. Thank you, awesome. So when you said those words, like those words exploded literally in my mind, and I'm like, yeah, when you fall in love with the solution, your innovation, and you fall in love with your initiative, when the problem you're trying to solve needs you to go in another direction, needs you to evolve, needs you to do something different because you are sentimental about the idea that you have, you will not be open to change. You will not be open to you will not be able to make adjustments to your ideas because you are in love with your solution. Thank you so much for that. Now this
Oh, did she drop?
Yeah, I guess so. She dropped. Let's give her some minutes to join back. Let's give her some seconds.
For anyone that does just want a low-hanging fruit in getting to the space, you could just engage in the crypto culture on Twitter.
And if you're in Toronto, then Bitcoin Bay runs bi-weekly meetups every Monday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I am going to add
Attica, I'm too poor to drink every single week.
No, I said bi-weekly.
Oh, okay. I thought you said every week, every
No,
Monday.
no. No. So I am going to add unpaid promotion there. Sorry, Godfrey. But Bitcoin Bay does, bi-weekly meetups so that's every 2 weeks on Mondays in Toronto, in downtown, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we talk about the latest trends in the ecosystem. We talk about we talk about the what's happening, what new protocols are coming up. We recently had a meetup on Bitcoin governance, the new BIP improvement protocols that are coming in. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Atika. Thank you for sharing that. While we wait for Halima to join in, I would like us to take some questions. I think we have a couple of questions. Oh, she's back. Halima, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. I apologize. My network is glitching.
Okay, welcome back. All right, over
Thank
to you.
you. So
Halima.
what did I miss? What did I miss so I know where to pick up from?
You missed a session where Atika was sharing with us about the opportunities blockchain enthusiasts can leverage within Toronto, if you find yourself within Toronto. And of course, Jerry mentioned about a platform other people can leverage on. So we'll get to do more of that as we progress. So over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For the next question, some of the things we've said so far leads to this. We understand that community and networking cannot be overemphasized. Like, it's very important to this industry and this ecosystem. So I would like to ask, what are the key considerations? What strategies would you recommend? Say I'm a newbie and I'm just coming into the space. How would you what would you advise me to do to other professionals or mentors in the blockchain ecosystem? I'll start with you, Jerry. What are the strategies you would recommend?
Um, Quite honestly, like there's so many people putting on these kind of like conferences and like speaker series and whatnot that it really just depends on like what your interest areas are, right? I think it was last Thursday or Friday, there was a large compliance conference in Toronto in downtown where they were all just talking about crypto compliance, all of the issues that have been going on with like various security practices and so on and so forth, right? So really like when you look at especially the tech space here in Toronto, I heard it described by other people around other places in the world that the Toronto space is very, very underground. There's a lot of activity going on, but it's not like there's a unifying directory to find all this stuff, right? So to that end, as I think the theme of this conversation had been, it's really just comes down to, like how active you are in trying to search out and seek out these opportunities, right? Um, and yeah, like I'm sure there will definitely be a lot more people in similar boats as you guys. So like there'll definitely a lot of like mutual interest, cross pollinated interest and whatnot. And yeah, it just the point of entrepreneurship is, like all the opportunities are there for you. It's just, do you want to get it or do you want to sit back and let other people get it?
Thank you so much, Jerry. So I'll just say attend conferences, meetups, and thank you so much once again for those work with people and connect in the ecosystem. So I'll be asking Henry that some questions as well. So Henry, what strategies would you recommend for connecting with other professionals or mentors in the blockchain ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, networking, right? Can't get over that. You need to make sure that you participate in whatever thing of importance, community driven, could be events, could be boot camps, anything you can get your hand on that is going to, educate you and show you the latest trends and make you better understand the industry. I think it's a very good opportunity to get more people to collaborate with and learn about what's happening within the space. So yeah, networking, participation in DAOs, can't overemphasize on that. And also open source collaboration contributions you could write. Just try to find out what others are doing, understand their business model, understand their users, understand the problem they're trying to solve. Wait on your own end to see how feasible it is. If that's going to teach you a thing or two in whatever you're trying to introduce as well. So just opening yourself for collaboration, getting to know what other people are doing, building yourself as well, being able to communicate so that you can as well speak about the problem you're trying to solve and get support from the right people so that you can do it the appropriate way to get to optimize on the project and the problem you want to solve. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Thank you so much, Henry. Athika, what are the recommendations you would give for connecting with professionals and mentors in the blockchain ecosystem?
Obviously, to add on to what Jerry and Henry said, industry events, conferences, meetups, and going to these events and meetups, right? You should have a goal in your mind. Like, what is the reason that you're going there for? I mean, sometimes, right? And especially if you're in Toronto, right, it gets a lot overwhelming, especially being someone who's in the industry and is very active in these industry events, conferences, and meetups. It can get super overwhelming. Like Jerry said, there's a lot of things happening underground in Toronto in terms of all of the technologies and stuff. And to engage in these offline communities, to be there, to talk to people. So it can get too distracting and overwhelming for a newcomer, obviously. So as a newcomer, you have to have a goal in your mind. Why are you going to this meetup? What benefit is it going to bring to you? Yes, obviously you can attend meetups and events to de-stress and chill. But when it comes to these professional events, having a goal in mind that you want to, like, let's say you're going there to network, to build your network, to get so that you eventually land an opportunity in the space. And when you're talking about opportunity, which field are you looking for? And that's the type of people that you connect with. Because there are a lot of local meetups that are happening, like Bitcoin Base doing it, Crypto Mondays, Off-Chain Toronto, and there are huge large-scale events like Blockchain Futurist Conference that happened recently. Consensus is coming to Toronto. So all of these, right? It is very important that you keep yourself grounded and that you keep, you go there, explore, and just find the right people. And something that I would like to say is understand who you are taking advice from. I mean, we're in a world where everybody is, straight up ahead, ready to give advice, but are they people even eligible to give advice to you? I mean, yes, respectfully listen to everybody, but just do that assessment on your own, where you understand, okay, this person has been there, done that, and that's the reason that they're what they're talking about is coming from experiences that they personally have been through, and that they have tried and tested those waters before they're telling you, that might be a bad idea. And even if it's coming from a person that you think, yes, this is the right advice that I need to take, do your own, assessment, judgment, because mentor is a very huge term in my personal opinion. If once you start looking at somebody as a mentor, that's the footsteps that you follow, that you want to follow into, and that's the shoes that you want to step into someday. So it is very important to pick your mentors really, curate that list of mentors really well, so that you have your own personal touch of experiences along the way. So that's something that I personally think.
Yeah, thank you so much, Atika. That was really, really insightful. I think one of the things you mentioned that stood out for me is being intentional about how you explore these spaces, how you explore these opportunities when you go for meetups. What do you hope to achieve? What I could remember our first meetup where we met Alex Tapscott. For me, it was really a great one because I remember we had to shut down, Professor George had to shut down the class, and then we went, to the meetup. That was really, really intentional in his own part. So, and that opened up a lot of opportunities for us within the space. We got to network with a lot of people, and we're here today. So being intentional about what you want and what you want to gain out of a particular thing is very, very important in this space. So thank you so much, Atika, for that response. While we wait for our moderator to come back, we'll be taking some questions. We received some questions. I had earlier dropped a link on the chat, opendashboard.co, so you could check that out. Oh, Halima is back. All right, so I think we should take this question, and then Halima, you can jump right in after the response has been given. All right, so this question is from Femi. Give me a second. Let me project that here. Okay. All right, so I'm projecting right away. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. All right. So I'll be sharing my screen from here. So Femi is a dental nurse. He's based in Nigeria, and he has this question. He says, what skills can I harness from blockchain technology with regards to healthcare? I want to pass that question to Jerry. Yeah, Jerry.
Healthcare and blockchain, there's so many, right? So you can think of, like getting access to your healthcare records, just tracking the interactions you're having with various sorts of doctors or healthcare practitioners. I'm not sure about other places around the world, but at the very least in Canada, it's a terrible place to get into healthcare, since it's so controlled by the government, and anything that does require that needs to have some sort of approval from them. But yeah, no, like if the government and regulatory system isn't too overpowering and whatnot, there's so many things you can do, right? If you start adding in the things like, decentralized file storage and stuff like that, along with the blockchain side, then yeah, you can be building out a fairly robust I wouldn't say healthcare system, but at least a way to track what's been going on in the healthcare system, right? So yeah, it's definitely an area that, especially before the 2017 ICO days, it was like a really, really hot topic for, like how do we bring about in this integration. So, 7 years have passed, although there's a lot more people into like just buying and selling coins. I think, like these kinds of, like applications in other industries, such as in the healthcare, is like really, really important. So yeah, definitely would encourage you guys to look at it more.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Henry, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just gonna add. I mean, it's an interesting niche. So things from health insurance, could work on things related to that. Of course, Terry already talked about health information being accessible and being available for different people to get access to according to how it is defined. Also, things that could bring in donations for in countries where people can't take care of their health bills, for instance. So there could be, some kind of application using blockchain that would provide funding for health, as well as people who are, let's say, donating blood or different parts of for different people, for any reason. It's possible that that could be on chain as well. There are some people, not meaning to go extreme, that oftentimes might have a bad kidney and need a donor and things of that nature. That could be on chain as well. And there's no limitation to what could actually be put on chain related to healthcare. So that's what I said.
Okay, Atika, any thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, honestly, there are so many things that you can use blockchain technology for in regards with healthcare. But if you are someone who's, coming from the healthcare industry, like it was already mentioned earlier in the emerging talks that we had, that understanding the underlying technology of blockchain and understanding the kind of solution that you want to build, because there are a lot of ideas out there, but you being able to execute them is what's going to make it better. That's how you're going to harness blockchain overall. So in my opinion, as somebody who wants to build for the healthcare industry, is coming from the healthcare industry, I think you should read a lot more about the solutions or the ideas that are there in the industry, to understand where you can plug yourself in and get that implemented for people around you and the place that you work in. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Atika. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Henry. I remember attending a session where our juniors, in the blockchain program, pitched a couple of during their final pitch presentation. I was there, and one of the solutions they pitched was around blood bank, like being able to track basically in the area of traceability. So for Femi, who works, within the dental industry, I think there are quite a number of problems you could identify. In fact, what I'm looking at, what I envision is that people don't have to move from their field, from their various sector, to start writing smart contracts. We hope that within your sector, you're able to identify problems. And just like all the speakers have said, you're able to identify problems, and with that problem, make research and see how the blockchain can serve as a bridge in solving that problem. So I'm really glad that question is coming from you. And I hope you remain in that space and not and not transition to writing codes. Yeah. So our moderator is back. Halima, can you hear me, Halima?
Just to add up to
Okay.
what Godfrey said, you don't have to be a smart contract developer to like build in blockchain. Absolutely not. We're not asking people to. I mean, if you want to, you can, obviously not stopping you, but in case you are in these fields that you're passionate about, all you need is an idea and the way that you want to implement that idea, and then you will find the right people that are passionate enough about the problem to join hands with you and build the solution together. Because if you want to go fast, you should go solo, but if you want to go far, you should definitely go with a team that you trust. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Atika. Halima?
Thank you so much, Godfrey. And once again, I apologize. I promise it's not always like this. I don't know what happened today. At the last month's edition, we had a great time and it was quite seamless. Okay, so for this next question, I'm going to give a background to this, and I think I'm coming first to you because this particular question, okay, before I get into the question, I'll give this background. I saw a LinkedIn post you made about a week ago, and it was really, yeah, I see you smiling. It was really inspiring to read, and it was so heartwarming to read. Um, just to give a background, and then yeah, I'll encourage everyone to connect with our speakers, and just scroll down a little and you see the post I'm talking about. So you made a very bold you made a very bold move when you were invited to speak at the Blockchain Futurist conference, and you know despite what people were telling you, despite the challenges people were throwing at you, that, oh, if you don't conform to a particular thing, if you don't conform to a particular norm, no one will take you serious. But you owned your identity. You wore it proudly, and you had the story to tell, you had a message to pass across, and you went there, and that bold move that you made, it drew a lot of people to you. A lot of persons came to you asking you questions and all of that. I would also like you to you tell the story better, and what inspired you. But now this next question, which I'll be asking, is this: the blockchain, like many tech fields, has been a male dominated industry for the longest time. So what steps do you think can be taken to encourage more diversity and inclusivity in this industry, especially for women?
Firstly, thank you so much for the appreciation. Uh, so I think you're talking about the fact that I wore an abaya to Blockchain Futurist conference, where I was invited as a speaker to talk on a panel. So yeah, I don't know how I wrote all of that. But yes, so just to give everybody a background story, I was invited to speak at a panel at the ETH Women blockchain at the ETH Women panel at Blockchain Futurist Conference on the leading Web3 technology and key verticals that we can watch. And I decided, so I was very skeptical on how to present myself, because everybody told me that if you do not wear a suit, people will not take you seriously. So in these professional environments, you have to dress up in a suit, in a tux, and in a blazer, and unless and until you do that, people will not take what you're talking about seriously. So, but what I thought was, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey is more important. My thoughts are more important than the way I dress up. And I will not give up my identity just to be included in, just to feel included or be welcomed in a particular group of people. I should be welcomed the way that I am. I should not have to change for anybody, which is why I wore an abaya. That's something that I'm super comfortable in, and that's something that I culturally was born and brought up to wear as a Muslim. So I wore an abaya, I wore a hijab to the conference. I was on stage, and I was pretty nervous, obviously, given how the reactions would be. I had dressed up under the abaya, just so that in case something goes wrong, I might actually just change and come back. But the reaction was very beautiful. All of the people were very accepting, welcoming. They came up, asked questions, talked about what I was wearing, tried to understand who I was representing. And and that's when I realized it is super important to represent the place that you're coming from, your roots, and that's the reason I did that, and I wanted to tell the world that this is something that you can do. Don't let anybody belittle you and tell you that you have to change yourself to be a part of some group. I mean, you can build your own group anytime. So yeah, that was there. But coming to the question that Halima asked, that blockchain has been traditionally been a male-dominated field. I mean, which field isn't? Honestly, where do you see women leading? I mean, the best chefs in the world are men. So and then people say that the women are really good in kitchen. So where are we with that? I mean, and coming to steps that you can take to encourage more diversity and inclusivity in any industry, especially for women, I think it would be to foster to show that it's a welcoming environment, and especially I was asked this question even at Futurist conference by, I think, Reem Salmi, who was like, how do we get more women in the industry? How do we get more women to come in and join us? I think it was more about creating that welcoming environment where we're telling them, you can come in, you can do your own thing, you can be you don't have to compete with your male associates and coordinates just to prove yourself. You can do your own thing, be your own thing, and it is our responsibility as people in the ecosystem, already existing in the ecosystem, to create that environment where we're telling women, this is a safe space. Come in, be yourself, create, innovate at your own speed, at your own level. You don't have to compete with anybody. I mean, I am a strong believer of the quote that, dear women, when God made you special, why do you want to settle for equal? Like, I don't know, I am a bit of a, I have a very different take when it comes to equality between men and women. Absolutely, I am a huge voucher for cerebral equality, where we're saying if you can solve these problems, I can too. But yeah, I think it's about creating that space, and and also creating more opportunities, more women-centric communities. I mean, I remember, especially Bitcoin Bay, right? The first one that I attended in Toronto was Bitcoin Bay's International Women's Day celebration. I was like, Bitcoin Bay is doing an International Women's Day celebration? And then I went there, and then absolutely, there were a lot of great women that I met, great people that I met, but there were also these men, okay, at an International Women's Day meetup. And I was like, what? It's like, what are men doing? And that's when I understood, like, it is very important that these men are there to support and to show their, their welcoming, just them welcoming and supporting women around them in the community, because it is these people who make it who make the whole ecosystem more better and more progressive. Another thing that we could do is maybe highlight these female role models that we're talking about, or leaders in the industry. Somebody that I personally look up to is Ashley Wright. She's Ashley Wright, I think. She's the founder of Femtech. She is a blockchain industry leader, has been in the industry for quite some time, and has been doing fantastic work. And I remember meeting her at the same Bitcoin based International Women's Day meetup, and I remember how she was like, girl, do your own thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And providing more accessible resources for not just women, but every newcomer that's in the industry to get their hands on with it, get their hands on the technology, understand it depending on the industry that they are coming from, and to just foster these culture, accept all sorts of cultures, and diversity initiatives in the entire ecosystem. I think that's how we can basically create more bring more women and create more female role models that are fostering inclusive company cultures and breaking those barriers and thriving in the space.
Wow, thank you, thank you so much. That was really profound. Thank you so much. So I'll just ask the two other speakers briefly. I'll start with you, Henry. What are you doing to encourage diversity and inclusivity in the industry for women? So we can learn something from there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a thing or two to do, right? Because the bigger goal is mass adoption of this technology, and it's very important to see women thrive in it. And I like the fact that Atika called Ashley Wright of Femtech. She's doing a great job. I know of Sarah Idahosa. She's founder of Women in DeFi. Also, Oluchi Enibeli of Web3 Ladies. So I think there should be more support for people who are already doing things in this direction. For me, what I've done, I've actually offered myself to volunteer in some of these, platforms where they, train ladies in Web3 and all of that. But it goes beyond that. I mean, I think foundations as well who want, the world to adopt this this technology, this ecosystem. It's important to see women play in this field. So they should really support with funding. Our advice, to keep whoever is trying to train women within this space motivated, as well as create avenues to train women for free in a way that they would enjoy and like it. Women are really intellectual, right? When I was in school, women used to be the best, to be honest. And operating in this space is actually an intellectual space. I don't see any reason why a woman shouldn't thrive. So it's more about sensitivity, sensitization, letting them know about the space and letting them know that it's somewhere they can thrive at, letting them be able to see how good they'll be in whatever role they decide to take up. And I think little things like this can go a long way in making it, a diverse space.
Thank you so much, Henry. Over to you, Jerry. What are you doing as a man that support women in this space? What are the steps you take to encourage diversity and inclusivity in the blockchain industry? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really just so my philosophy on all this is that whenever you have any sort of new emerging tech or new innovative fields and whatnot, the people who are naturally going to be leaders are going to be the ones who are going to take the most risks, right? And unfortunately, this is not a statement to just say, hey, go out there, like, take risks and just hope for the best, right? There is a lot of failure in this space. Some people have lost definitely a lot of money and whatnot, but ultimately, like it's really just comes down to, like risk tolerance and building out I'm not sure if infrastructure would be the right thing, but essentially building out the support groups and systems where, like even when entrepreneurs fail in their ventures, it's not like, like people thinking, oh, they wasted so much time of their lives or anything like that. It should feel more so kind of like a valuable learning experience to help with the next stage of, one's life, right? So, um, regardless if it's, like men, women, young and old, different backgrounds and whatnot, like quite honestly, there is a lot of people that are also, like close to retirement age and they're like, ah, we would love to do some stuff in this, but with their time availability and whatnot, it's like, where do they go, right? So anything that really just helps reduce that, like perceived risks cost, would be good, right? So that's why, like we also try to, like feature and highlight as many people as possible in the community space where, like they don't necessarily need to be, like any sort of experts or whatnot. I think Athika, you remember I think it was beginning of this month, where we had that small roundtable, and yeah, one of the speakers couldn't make it, so we just asked another person who's been fairly active, but tried to be on the keep a low profile of things. And yeah, it was just like, Rex, come on up, like give your perspective to things, right? So. Yeah, like for a lot of the people where, like the work life has been more or less made into a routine by, like whatever jobs that people are working on, it definitely is a challenge to move into something that's more entrepreneurial, where there's a lot less structure, where you have to, more or less go with the flow, right? But yeah, I think it's just really, like a mindset game, and also having that kind of like larger startup support, that entrepreneur support, where quite honestly, if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't failed in things in your ventures and whatnot, I'm not sure if people can really call that entrepreneurship, right? So yeah, knowing that like failure is perfectly natural and should be desired for in life, I really think will help out with a lot of women getting into the space.
No, I absolutely agree with what Jerry just said. Failure is so important in entrepreneurship. You have to fail fast, learn fast, get a fast. Build and fail and build and fail. But often, more often than not, when it comes to women, right, they don't have that many chances to, I think, fail and then try again and then fail and then try again, because getting that first yes or that first chance is only a very huge deal. So I think it should be somewhere, our works, the work that we're doing should be aligned in such a way that we're able to give these women and these other groups that we're talking about the opportunity to fail more than once. Because once you fail, there's taboos attached. There's the whole people putting you down, trust issues, even in fact trusting yourself to build something becomes, you are on a very on a different mindset, on a different energy level. So I think it is super important that we increase these number of chances that we're having these entrepreneurs take risks, these women entrepreneurs take risks. And another thing that I wanted to say was, like, you mentioned how, I think Henry mentioned how women are good when it comes to, like, everything. So I think I remember my previous mentor telling me, if you want to succeed, have women on your team, because they are people who do not give up very easily. They're like fighters right there. And if you want to succeed, have women on your team. And wherever there's women, there's magic. So yeah.
I kind of agree with you, Atika. When you were talking about failure, what came to my mind was people should be celebrated for failing. We celebrate successes, and I remember when I started my journey here, a colleague of mine was inviting me to a community, a meetup where entrepreneurs who have ventured in different businesses meet up, and maybe they fail. Yeah, of course they fail, and then they meet up to discuss their failures and have other people learn from it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, really? So as much as success needs to be celebrated, or successes are celebrated, it's also important that celebrate failure. I don't know if it makes sense. I learned from it, of course. Yeah, Halima, please. Sorry.
It absolutely makes sense. Failing and failing forward. It's very important in our journey, our entrepreneurial journey. I've heard so many profound words tonight, and definitely we have a lot of quotes from our speakers tonight. And this whole meetup, this whole conversation has been a very, very enlightening one. And we can stay here all day and talk, and won't get tired of talking and all of that. So once again, I'd like to say thank you so much to our speakers. So before we, finally pull the curtain. Okay, thank you so much, Favor. So before we finally pull the curtain on tonight's event, I'd like to ask our speakers for their final words, just one line, two lines, just whatever you want to leave us with tonight, whatever whatever words you want to, inspire us with as we journey on in this industry at the different stages that we are as, entrepreneurs and enthusiasts in the blockchain industry. So I'll begin with you. Okay, Athika is smiling. So let me begin with the person smiling at us. So Athika, what are your final words for us tonight? Just, just one line, two lines, three lines. Just tell us something to, go back home and brood upon as we journey on. Thank you.
I think personally for me, I truly, truly, truly like I've made it the motto and mantra of my life that believe and it will be. Just believe that you can do it and it will happen. Like you have no idea how fate and destiny and the whole universe conspires and works just because you are hardworking, right? And you want it to happen. You're working your way towards it. It definitely will happen. So personally, I always go back to this one saying where it says, the saying goes like, believe and it will be. So that's something that I would want everybody on this call to believe in themselves, to believe in the ideas they're working in, to believe in the people that they're working with, to believe in everybody, right? In everything, in every aspect that you're in. And nobody has to accept you as a misfit but you. So that's something that and since we talked about meetups, we talked about opportunities, we talked about everything, right? I personally think the ones who show up get lucky. And that opportunities don't work in absentia. So you have to show up for you to get lucky. The luck works in a totally different way than what we have learned. So just do the right thing always, even if it, even if it means you failing and then winning for the greater goal. So yeah, that's all that I might have to say. In terms of the questions that we talked about compatibility, right? So find better networks, but compatible networks. Never force fit yourself into places. And if you fit somewhere well, then don't take it for granted. Make sure it's symbiotic and not parasitic, I believe. But yeah, kindness and genuine empathy can win you your greatest enemy. So go ahead. I'm just randomly blabbering something, guys. So don't just believe in yourself and go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those words. And while you were speaking, I was taking those words so personally because I'm currently in the process of creating a solution for women, by women for women, in this space and all of that. And when you said believe and it will happen, and then you said show up, I'm like, yes, I need to believe that this will happen, and I need to put in the necessary work. I need to show up to make it happen. I know that I would be, you'd be seeing more of my face, you'd be seeing me, I'll be connecting with you and the other speakers from this point on. And yeah, thank you so much. So over to you, Henry. Your last words, your final words to, to us tonight.
Yeah, so I'll say network, be collaborative. Don't see the industry as a money grabbing space. There are so many people who are currently better than you in what you aspire to do within the space. So think towards bringing value, solving problems, identifying problems. Just keep building your skill because it's a new industry, and whether you like it or not, everyone is learning. So put yourself in that learning curve as well. Keep learning, and the sky will be the limit. It's you'll be surprised, when you start contributing, and it might not. You might entirely have to redefine yourself or reestablish yourself within the space by some minor opportunities that might fall your way while trying to attain several different skills or could be certification. So just see this as a long-term plan and see yourself doing a service to the world, because we all want the technology of blockchain to be adopted globally, of course, because it's going to solve a lot of problems. So if you have that mindset, you're going to be problem oriented. And once you can actually identify problems and bring up solid ideas that can solve those problems, you necessarily don't need to be the one building everything, right? But you can always find your place in a successful venture while operating in the space. So that's my final word.
Thank you so much, Henry. So over to you, Jerry. Give us your final words for tonight. Leave us with something to, go home with and run with. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, just like a lot of people investing into cryptos, I would try to diversify my not just the holdings, but also the interests and any sort of other knowledge and expertise I may want, right? Try not to specialize too heavily into these areas, because what I find in today's day and age is that it's like the specific technical information is all over the place, but there's not enough people that are, quote unquote generalists that can tie all this information together in a succinct way, right? So we have been talking quite a lot about blockchain, but it is also important to, know that blockchain doesn't exist in a vacuum, that it does have a place and usage in other areas, right? So, try to, keep an eyes and ears out for other stuff that are passing by, and just know that at the end of the day, blockchain is a tool, just like almost everything else that we have in our lives, and it's really just a matter of how we use it and how we apply it to different situations, right? So try not to be maxis, try to be a little bit more open-minded about things, and yeah, there's always like other new interesting stuff that's coming out, whether it's in blockchain or other areas of tech.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Athika. Thank you so much for those words. We are, we've heard a lot today, and beyond this meetup, we know that we still have a lot of things to do together as a community at Owujup. So thank you so much once again for gracing this meetup with your presence today. So over to our founder in the person of Godfrey Jonas. Over to you, Mr. Godfrey.
You're on mute.
That's my president. That's my president, Africa. All right. So I really want to extend my gratitude to everyone. Thank you to our guest speakers, Henry, Attica, and Jerry. By the way, just to disclose this to us, I actually met Henry during one of the Bitcoin Bay events. That was where I met Henry, and then we connected, we exchanged contact, and we've been in touch. He was around for our what do you call it, the pitch, our final presentation, at George Brown College, and he provided some feedback as regards the job, and we've had a couple of meetings together. So it's amazing that we all met in the same place, and all our guest speakers today are actually from that space, that community. So there's a lot that happens within this space that we are making available across boards, regardless of where you are, for people like to leverage on these opportunities, learn this new technology, and just like Jerry said, it's just a tool. amongst every other tool you have, amongst every other things you have within your custody. So we are very grateful. Thank you so much to our speakers, and thank you to our moderator, Halima. That was a great job. This is the second time Halima is moderating this session, and yeah, you're doing a great job. She did wonderfully well. So thank you so much, Halima, for this wonderful session. I want to thank one of our advisors at Oju was around, but for some reason he had to leave. So I want to thank him in absentia. And I also want to thank every other person. Time will fail to call you by name, or across Canada, across in Africa, in Nigeria. We're really grateful. Thank you so much for being part of this experience. And just to give a little bit of context to what we do, this event is brought to you by OWUJUP, and in OWUJUP we believe everyone should be empowered with equal access to knowledge and financial resources, and everything we do is towards building community, is towards creating that environment where people are able to support themselves financially, and of course in the aspect of knowledge sharing. And currently we're building our product called the WujuPay. The WujuPay is we're exploring both Web 2 and Web 3 technologies to provide options and platforms where people can collaboratively pool funds and support themselves financially. So the platform is still under development, and once we launch, we'll be sharing it with our community first, and you all will be part of this experience with us. And what we do here actually is part of our social responsibility as a company, within Toronto and across the world, across the globe as well. So we're committed to ensure that our community members are informed, and they thrive, using latest technologies across the globe. So we're really excited and glad to have you here. So basically, the two events we hold so far is the Emerging Tech Talks, and also we usually have a community hangout. We had our first hangout in August, and it was pretty good. We had people come around within our community. We have families that came with their kids. We just had a time to socialize, and we do that on a quarterly basis as well. But of course, the Emerging Tech Talk happens every month. So next month, we're going to have another session, and we'll be sending out emails to invite you all to be part of this. So we are really grateful for this time. And lastly, I want to thank the team behind this edition. I want to really thank the team that worked tirelessly in the area of branding, the area of strategy, the area of promotions. This team have worked, tirelessly to ensure that we are able to project the event and to reach as many people as possible. We're a small team and we're looking at expanding. So please, if you need branding consultation, please reach out to me. I know I can link you up with Mr. Prince, which is also an active member of our community as well. So please, I just want to say thank you to the team for putting up this event, and I'm really, really grateful. So please take our time. We've dropped links on the platform. Try to reach out to the speakers, connect with Atika, connect with Jerry, connect with Henry, Halima. You can also connect with us, OWUJUP, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram as well. So please stay in touch, and we believe things will work out well. And just like Atika said, believe. That word is stronger. Believe and take the step. Believe and take that course. One of the things she mentioned, one of the questions Femi asked is what opportunities are available, for you to learn, and what resources are we making available as well. So just to add to that, just to add a bit of Just to add, in response to that question, I would like to say that we're making available certain resources, both human resources and material resources, to help you access courses where you can learn on your own, learn at your own pace, and as well being able to access our mentors, to learn as well and to get inspired in that regard. So please, we're really grateful. I want to thank our founders, our co-founders in the team. Some of them came in, but they left. I really appreciate us, and thank you so much for making our time to be part of this event. And I want to say thank you. We need to take a group photograph. Yeah. So please, I crave your indulgence. Just turn on your camera and then we'll just take a screenshot, smile. I'll stop sharing now. So I just want us to take a group photograph, everyone. All right. Okay. All right. Smile, smile, smile. All right. Okay. Halima. Only Halima's camera is not working. So good. Okay, I'll just take yay. Oh, I need to take again. I need to take another one. Sorry. Alright, so let's just take a group shot. 1, 2, yay. Yeah. Alright, thank you so much, guys. Do have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful day as well. Thank you. See you some other time. Bye. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Sure.
Bye.